Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg, and I decided to do. I'm going to do a video tonight, but I decided to. I wanted to discuss Iran, and I think it is important that we have a discussion about Iran right now because we have people in the West who claim to be so forward thinking, wanting to preserve civilization, that are just hell bent on destroying civilization. And I am talking about politicians in the United States predominantly. And we're going to probably end up in a war with Iran. Haven't we learned our lessons? And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. We are going to discuss that right now. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and share this video because it kind of relates to what we need to talk about, but we'll do it with a little bit of levity first. So let me go ahead and do just that because I'm my own producer. So let me go and find the video at hand and we'll play it. This is Misha Pollan.
Give it to me. It's about to start. Welcome, my TPUSA family, all 666 of you. As you know, the last 2 weeks since Charlie's death have been incredibly difficult for all the haters, commies, and Nehemiah's detractors. That's because Charlie's memorial was such a huge success. More than 90,000 in attendance, 200,000 in merch sales, millions watching worldwide, taking in an additional 200 million shekels, dollars. We pulled off the biggest event in TPUSA history. We were really staring down the barrel of a gun there for a moment, but we kept our sights on the target and we took our shot. My God is just. And of course, no one acting alone could have pulled something like this off. There were so many people involved in this effort. Like Mikey. Where's Mikey? Mikey? Oh, there you are on the phone, walking speedily away, you ham. Oh, I'm so happy I could just shout it from the rooftops. Anyway, I brought you all here to say, as a gesture of my utmost appreciation for all your hard work, you're fired.
But if we did such a good job, why are we getting fired?
Well, all I can say is, we're going in a different direction. Now, if you don't mind, you all need to exit the premises immediately. Shabbat Shalom. Security! Give it to me. It's about to...
Okay. And the reason I play that is basically this. Erica Kirk, she was doing an impression of Erica Kirk. That's Misha Pollan, who's a producer for the Jimmy Dore Show. She's a stand-up comedian. She's funny as hell. She's snarky. And the only complaint I have about that video is that she doesn't look like Erica Kirk. Yeah, I'm not trying to objectify, but she's too pretty to look like Erica Kirk. So, but she really did nail it on the head about what kind of a person Erica Kirk is. And she's a hardcore fundamentalist Christian who is a Christian Zionist. And it's a dangerous combination. It is a dangerous combination. And so, and somebody who's grieving over her husband's demise, you can just tell she's not a nice person, referring to Mrs. Erica Kirk. As I said, they could have gotten Miss Piggy from the Muppet Show to accurately portray Erica Kirk. That would have been more accurate, but I digress. So anyway, let's go ahead and say hello to CBC Voter. And we have CBC Voter, Hey Chuck, Intergalactic UFO Show, Bella Lagrisi, P Stub, Lainey Peterson, Max Sarjay, Fingerman, Kamashwari Kate, Kilidor Eroglius, Miss Tree, Willie Bragg, and Uncle Warren. So, hello everyone. Hello, Max Sarjay. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we haven't learned our lessons. I mean, we have. We know what's going to happen. But the American people, well, maybe a lot of Americans do know what's going to happen, but our politicians do not learn. And here's the thing. Going into Iran, it's going to be different from going into Iraq. Because when we went into Iraq in 2003, we're talking about a country that's been, struggling economically for years due to sanctions. Now, there are sanctions against Iran, but Iran is a more advanced society than Iraq was. And they have, I would venture to say, they have more friends who are sympathetic to them. Now, I want to make it clear that I do not endorse the government of Iran, but I do not endorse a lot of governments around the world, and especially our own. So any criticism I have of Iran is just criticism. But what they are not guilty of is terrorism against the West, the way that certain politicians like to make it out to be in this country. Saudi Arabia is more of a danger to the West in terms of the terrorism and havoc that they have exported around the world than Iran. Iran does absolutely little to no terrorism at all. I do not quiver. I work graveyard shift. I do not quiver under my bed during the daytime in fear of Iran. I don't. They're not out there to try to go and do whatever they call a caliphate or what have you. It's not that kind of society. I don't. And here's the thing. I'm not a fan of Barack Obama, but Barack Obama did one thing that was positive during his 8 years as the presidency. He actually had a peace treaty with Iran. Donald Trump became president in 2016, ripped the treaty to hell. And the thing about it, why did he do it? He knew that the treaty was working. He knew that Iran was trying to acclimate toward the West in many ways. He knew that treaty was working the way it's supposed to work. Why the hell did he go and pull the U.S. out of it, which was stupid as hell? I'll tell you why. You probably know this already. There was a lot of right-wing people in this country. Evangelical Christians and secular neocons. This is a time before Trump came along. And Trump pretends to be anti-war. And will talk a good game. But as it turned out, he's turning out to be a bigger neocon now than he was the first time around, and more one than Bush and Cheney, if you can imagine that. He did this to appease the John Hagee, Mark Levin, crowd, the Lindsey Grahams, and the Ben Shapiros out there. This is why he did it. He did it to appease fundamentalist Christians who are superstitious as hell, and he also did this to appease the neocons, and military-industrial complex ties, who's never met a war that they didn't want to get themselves involved with. So, what happened as a result? Pull out of the treaty, and Iran's like, hey, you're going to go kick us around. We're just going to have to go back to what we were doing. That was really stupid of Trump. It seems like stupidity, the concept of stupidity and Trump goes hand to hand anyway. And Iraq was the disaster for the U.S. I mean, if you really want to destroy the United States, go ahead and invade Iran, because they will economically destroy us. It will, we're like, what, about $40 trillion in debt. What's going to happen? I mean, with BRICS being set up and everything, what's going to happen is that eventually the economy, it won't be too long before our money is worthless. It's pissing me off. I retire in fucking 5 years. I want to enjoy my retirement. And I'm afraid that I could get laid off from work or be working till I'm 90 years old or what have you because of this kind of bullshit. If our money system is worthless, it could collapse the economy. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play this video here. Give me a moment. And some of the reasons why we do not need to be going into Iran. So we'll start here with this jackass.
The possibility of an all-out war between Iran and Israel is a very real issue. 2,600 years ago, the headlines in the Bible written by the prophet Ezekiel in chapters 38 and 39 describe the condition of the Middle East right now exactly. The Bible describes a war between Persia. Persia is Iran, of course, and a Russian-led coalition of anti-Semitic nations that will join forces to destroy Israel. The possibility of
This is why we do not need to get ourselves involved right there. If there's any one person that would tell you, that will explain why we shouldn't be involved, is that motherfucker, John Hagee, a man who hates Roman Catholics, the man who hates LGBTQ people, the man who basically he preaches the bigotry, he preaches neoconservative wars, and he's basically gay for Benjamin Netanyahu, the one person the evangelicals are allowed to be gay for. It's ridiculous. That like John McCain had that man as his spiritual advisor, or initially back in 2008, and he's supposed to be some kind of moderate Republican. The late John McCain, he's a war criminal. But there was this impression that he was this moderate. Moderates do not go and reach out to fundamentalist Christians like John Hagee. I'm not sitting there bashing people who are Christian. I'm a lukewarm Christian. I go to church sometimes. But what I'm saying is, this motherfucker is the reason why, partly why we should be very, very skeptical, and not just skeptical, but to take this out in the streets to protest. We should be having anti-war rallies. I'm very mad that once Obama was elected, that the anti-war The anti-war movement came to a swift end. And we need to go back to protesting against war again. We never needed to stop. Well, let's go ahead and play somebody else who's just as just as insufferable. Is this guy? Hold on a second. Is that it? I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's it. Found it. Listen to this guy.
I want to say something very quickly, Lawrence, to these reprobate Democrats in Congress who are attacking Israel and undermining them in the face of this war. You are disgusting. You are pathetic. You are backing Islamists who attacked us on 9/11. You have no heart. You have no soul. You have no support for the West, for freedom, for our country. Your hate is dripping from your lips. You physically assault our ICE agents. You give aid and comfort to murderers and criminals who are here illegally. You give aid and comfort to Islamist regimes like Iran. You are pathetic. The Democrat Party does not support this country. Listen to them. Listen to Bernie Sanders. Listen to Tim Kaine. Listen to this jerk from Connecticut. What is his name? Murphy. Watch them. Listen to them. They're everywhere. Write down their names and remember in the next election who these people are. We're rooting against the West and rooting for the enemy. Keep names and hold them to account.
Mark Levin is more anti-Western than the people he mentioned. I have no love for Tim Kaine or some of these other folks, and Bernie is not what he used to be. True enough. But what is Mark Levin's answer? Get off my lawn. Democrats. And Democrats are garbage, but not for the reasons that Mark Levin stated. And Mark Levin has more in common with so-called Islamists than his political opponents that he likes to sit there and slur. Fuck Mark Levin. Honestly, fuck that bald-headed motherfucker. If there's anybody bald in the audience, I'm not attacking y'all for it. I don't say I had the bullets out of pair. So, but that motherfucker pisses me off because the only way that asshole can get an erection if he sees missiles being shot into the air or a drone strike against Middle Eastern people. So, fuck Mark Levin and fuck John Hagee. I'll give you another reason why we should not be doing this. This death wish that America has on itself. This asshole over here.
We are in negotiations with him.
President Donald Trump says he's still willing to talk to Iran, even as he threatens the country with a huge American armada deployed across the Middle East.
My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Trump accuses Iran of trying to restart its nuclear program after a U.S. assault bombed its facilities last year. On Tuesday, Iran's foreign minister declared Iran will under no circumstances ever develop a nuclear weapon. Amid this tense brinksmanship, Trump administration officials gave top U.S. lawmakers a classified briefing on Iran earlier Tuesday. Democrats called this moment serious, while the Republican leader of the Senate urged the White House to consult with Congress about the possibility of a conflict.
We are in negotiations with him.
President Donald
I don't believe a word Donald Trump has to say. Whatever Trump has to say, just believe the opposite because he is a liar. He's just a horrible, horrific liar. And there's no reason to ever respect his words or anything like that. And with the State of the Union address that took place the night before last, something like that. I don't really watch State of the Union address. I don't really even address it that much because it is, they sit there and they brag about what they've done, and there's just so much that needs to be addressed. And this is not even related to foreign policy. This is just in general, and it's not even 100% about Trump. But you know what? Trump was acting like a baby, and a lot of the right wingers were acting like little babies over things like Rashida Tlaib with her little fuck ICE thing, and what Mark Levin was talking about ICE agents. And I hope Mark Levin hears what I have to say, and I'll say it again, and I'll shout it through the rooftops. Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. Those motherfuckers are trained by the IDF, for what I understand, working with the Department of Homeland Security. So, I would like nothing better than to see ICE abolished, and the people who are participating in the terrorism against the people of Minnesota. I'd like to see those people put in prison, referring to the ICE agents. They're scum of the earth. They are scum of the earth. So anyway, and they're basically the I had to space it out because of the algorithms. I don't want the algorithms to shut me down for saying what I'm saying right now. So sometimes I will have to go and be creative in how I use my words. Another person I'm going to share with you, and this is going to be a short video. I just need to have it on record that we need to oppose this war with Iran. So let's go ahead and find the Ms. Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Finishing the job. That's what he says.
To our friends in Israel, finish the job. Do what you have to do to bring about the regime change that will allow your children to sleep through the night. To the American people, wake up. Understand what we're fighting. The Ayatollah is not normal.
You're not
These
normal.
are not normal people. Stand with Israel. Here's my goal, is to have people in charge of Iran who don't want a nuclear weapon to destroy Israel, who will not be the largest state sponsor of terrorism, but live in peace with their neighbors and have a good relationship with the United States. That's what I want.
No, you don't.
And if you don't want that, there's something wrong with you. To our friends in Israel, finish the job. Do what you have to do.
He's another person. If Lindsey Graham has something to say about anything, just open your ass cheeks and shit at his words, for real. Having to hear that twinkle toes motherfucker, the closeted motherfucker. Nothing wrong with being gay. It's the best thing about Lindsey Graham, saying that it's an ugly straight man. But here's the thing. He votes for reactionary legislation. He's the biggest whore for the military-industrial complex. And he's just an awful person, and he's never met a war that he didn't want to go have the United States committing itself to. Whether we're talking about, sucking on Netanyahu's cock, or invading Iran, or using every last Ukrainian to fight Russians. He's just a miserable son of a bitch. And why the fuck are people down in South Carolina keep voting for that asshole over and over? I don't know. But, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Lindsey Graham, fuck Mark Levin, and fuck John Hagee. And if my channel gets shut down, it gets shut down. But fuck those motherfuckers. I am opposed to war, period. I opposed the Iraq War, and I opposed this war here. I opposed the unaliving of Qasem Soleimani back in 2020. Donald Trump broke his campaign promise. And he was like, no more war. He was criticizing Liz Cheney, which I agree with him when he was criticizing Liz Cheney. But once he became president, he became Liz Cheney. He became Dick Cheney. He became George W. Bush. He became John Bolton. He became Nikki Haley. He is basically a neocon who pretended to be otherwise, anti-war. And not only is he a neocon, he's an old-fashioned imperialist, wanting to go and invade Greenland, causing problems in Mexico. Claudia Sheinbaum, who's actually done wonderful things as the president of Mexico, rising standard of living in Mexico, a growing middle class in Mexico, corruption being dealt with. One of the few places where people are starting to have trust in their governments is Mexico. And and even the people who are like immigration hawks, who wants to go and cause problems with Mexico, you realize that you go and topple her government and Mexico reverts back to where it was at one time, you're going to have a bigger immigration crisis. How stupid right-wingers are at times. Honest to God. They have no sense. It's like they get up in the morning wanting to cause whatever misery they can cause. And I despise these right-wingers who basically started with Reagan. Well, it started before Reagan, to be fair. It was started, the whole neoliberalism thing. And neoliberalism isn't liberalism, is old-fashioned conservatism. An authoritarian economic conservatism. And in some cases, an authoritarian social conservatism too. Let's go and say no to war with Iran. That's my mantra this morning. So let's go ahead on the chat line here. And as I said, I'm going to be logging off right now, but I will be back tonight. I'll be talking about something a little more lighthearted, unless I get sleepy. I'm going to warn y'all, I work graveyard shift. So if I get sleepy, I may have to go and postpone the video for tomorrow. I've been trying to do it for the past week too. I got the show prepped up. So anyway, we have here Bella LaGreasy. How are you doing today? Hello all. And get off my lawn. Yeah, that was my imitation of Mark Levin earlier. Rebecca, how are you this morning? Yeah, it's been a while. Good morning. I want ICE gone too. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Racist people vote for racist candidates. Yeah. And they're just not there was a time when racism was really frowned upon, and people are just like out of their racist closets now. And so it's it's really sad to see what's happened. But I do apologize. I have to go grab me a bite to eat, and I have to go to sleep. I should be back. I think I have it set at 8 o'clock tonight. Now, I may have to delay it till tomorrow. It's a possibility, and I do apologize. But, when you're a working class individual, about 5 years before you retire, I'm referring to myself, those are the cards that I have to deal with. So Anyway, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Reject corporate media. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my platforms. And, of course, remember, free Maduro, free healthcare for all, free Palestine, and also keep our First Amendment free. And until next time, yes, I should be. If I'm on tomorrow, you've been warned. So, and until next time, everyone, fuck ICE. Y'all take care. I got to eat and I got to sleep. So, bye-bye.